So today what I want to talk to you about is the fact that your dissertation or your thesis isn't a static document, because sometimes that's what you think of it as, that you move very clearly through it from step to step. So you do your literature review and then that's finished, then you write your methodology and that's finished, and then you go to where you are now and you're out in the field collecting data. But actually the research process is much less structured than that in some ways, and that's just what I want to have a quick word with you about today. And this really comes from a couple of students who were talking to me during the week about what they're finding out in the field when they're collecting their data, and how they're collecting and how they're finding information that maybe they didn't expect to find, or the angle is slightly different. And that's okay, we expect that to happen in research. It's never straightforward that you go out and you find exactly what you thought you were going to find. But what that then calls us into question is that you need to know that your literature review is likely to change in light of your research findings in the field. So what you may need to do now is, having identified something in the field, is say, I need to actually go and look more at that particular aspect of literature, and maybe now I need to write a section about that in my literature review because it's something I'm going to be talking about in my findings and my analysis. Even if there's nothing that's occurring to you in the field that's different to when you read the literature, you still need to go back and read through your literature review in the context of your experience now in the field, because your thinking may be different and you may need to emphasize different things in your literature review for the reader so it links in with what you're going to write in your findings and analysis. The other thing that you need to do is you need to look back at your research methodology chapter, because some of your reflections in there about justifying the research approach that you took or the challenges, you'll need to now write that having actually been in the field and done the primary research. The last thing I would say is about research objectives. And really, as I've said before, it's the research objectives that guide your whole research. And so when you're collecting your data and when you're starting now to think about how you're going to write up your findings, you need to be thinking about, am I addressing my research objectives? Because sometimes you might find lots of really interesting information out when you're collecting data, but how relevant is it to the questions that you set out at the beginning of research? So hopefully this short video has just highlighted to you that fact that the dissertation is really very malleable and movable, rather than it being a static document, and you need to think of it like that to be sure that the document is the best piece of work that it can be when the reader reads it at the end. Have a good week.